What's up, man? Welcome to Stand on the Media. Salute to my Stand on the Media family out there. Salute. Happy Wednesday to everyone. If you are new to this channel, much appreciated. Do me a favor, though. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment in this video. Please share this video. Hit that notification bell. You'll be notified when we drop these videos. So, look. We're going to get to the content because we got a lot of content to get to, man. I'm going to give y'all what they call back in the day a doozy. But before we do, I just need to add, if you want to get right to the content, fast forward 5-6 minutes. That should get you where you need to get to. I'm going to keep it real 5 minute and less. Okay. Cause it's a long video, but it's worth every minute to listen to. Man, the last 40 something minutes of this video is going to blow. I think every part of it should blow you away, but the last 45 minutes will blow you away. Let me just say, salute to Michael Douglas Carlin. Man, I'm just going to say salute to him. Y'all have to watch it to see why. Let me see. Let me go down the list. Picture plenty. I don't want to say the word associated after that because it's a bad word. I'm trying to keep my monetization. Salute to Picture Plenty. Salute to Law and Crime. And salute to was it 60 minutes? I believe so. It was a lot of content I got too. But salute to all three of them channels for the content. Listen, I got a question. I got a real serious question. What does Wack 100, Greg Kading, and Reggie Wright all have in common? Other than lies, deceit, and cover-ups. What do they all have in common? So I challenge you, when you listen to this audio and watch the video, and you process it and dissect it, I challenge you to tell me in the comment section, what do these three people have in common? Oh yeah, this video is deep. Some of y'all, well, I'm gonna say all of y'all are gonna learn something in this video that you didn't know. Some things you will. I thought it was important to take you on a roller coaster of who these people are, what they're being alleged or accused of, the things that they are doing. That because I'm trying to be careful in what I'm saying, because everything, let me say it now, is alleged. Everything is alleged. Everything is alleged. My opinions are my opinions. The gentlemen that are involved in this audio, as far as the other channels content I'm using, their opinions are their opinions. So I'm trying to be careful on how I phrase this. So I'm gonna just really let the content speak for itself. But I'm gonna take you on a roller coaster about all three of these gentlemen, and hopefully when we get to the the end of the ride, you will see what all three of these guys have in common. This is nasty work. Salute to Big U, by the way. Salute to Big U. I'm gonna say, man, I just wish Mark Stevens would have said something sooner. I really wish he would have said something sooner, man. Because this is a dirty game. And I want to advise the people out there who are up under these dudes, right? The Wack 100s and the Reggie Wrights. Listen to this audio. And when they give you warnings and tell you what you need to be paying attention to or what you shouldn't be doing, you need to listen. They are all wired for sound. These are not good people. They will line you up, throw you to the gutters, and not give a damn about you. Oh, these people are some bad people. They manipulated the hell out of us. They manipulated the people that they used to get to where they're at. Shameful. Suge, I don't know what Suge has done outside of this, but Suge should not be sitting in jail today based off what we know as fact. It's a cold game. But we passed the 5-minute mark. So I just want to get to the content. I just want to say thank you to everybody, man, who pulled up to watch this video. Salute to the entire Stand On The Media team, man. Two Blown Sherm, Muddy D, Twin, Smoked Out TV, The Henny Game, Carlita, Stephanie, Shawan, is that, what's her name? Shauna from the 304. I hope I said your name right, Queen. Everybody, man, the entire team, man. Salute to everybody out there. Don Keyway Conversation, do something, y'all. Yo, salute to y'all. Dose of Reality TV. Salute to you too. Salute to everybody, even if you're new to my channel, man. Blessings, many blessings to y'all. Keep your heads up. Keep your head on the swivel. Don't entertain these suckers. Everything ain't content. Sit back, relax. Let's get to it. Stand On The Media. Let's go. Wack 100 today is what Whitey Bulger was in 1965. Just listen.
In 1979, Bulger took over Winter Hill when indictment sent the rest of the gang's leadership to prison. Bulger and partner Stephen Flemmi set up shop in Boston at the Lancaster Street Garage, where the Massachusetts State Police shot this infamous surveillance video. Bulger and Flemmi soon became FBI informants, their handler, FBI agent John Connolly. It was a relationship that turned criminal. With Connolly's protection, Bulger and Flemmi knocked out their mafia rivals, killed anyone who got in their way, and made millions until their secret relationship was revealed.
Now, Wack 100, he has a handler, allegedly, and that handler is called Darren Dupree. But let's go into a deep dive into who I consider we call 600 the Crip Cop, which in some cases he is. But let's take a deep dive back into time on who really is the Crip Cop, Reggie Wright Jr. Let's listen.
A multi-state drug ring with ties to multiple gangs and a Mexican cartel busted up in Memphis.
We're talking about 22 people were indicted this morning. The charges, and there are plenty of them, include drugs and money laundering.
Police confiscated more than 46 pounds of drugs. We have also learned the bust netted members of both the Grape Street Crips and the Petterol Mafia gangs.
Fox 13's chief investigative reporter Jim Spiewak live downtown. And Jim, this investigation just didn't happen overnight.
It certainly did not. This has been going on since at least 2014. We learned here in the federal building behind me a little earlier today. Fast forward to today, we now know 22 people have been indicted. 16 of those people we know live right here in the Mid-South. Federal prosecutors are accusing 22 gang members of shipping money through the mail from Memphis, 1,800 miles away to Los Angeles, California. Prosecutors go on to allege meth, heroin, cocaine, pills, and pot were all sent back to be sold here. It's a case acting U.S. Attorney Larry Lorenzi calls unusual.
The drugs that were sent to Memphis was a smorgasbord of drugs.
Investigators say 17 of the people are members of the Memphis Petterol Mafia, a local street gang that sells several kinds of drugs. The investigation started years ago when police found out gangs were selling drugs around the Bella Vista apartments. The investigation picked off at least one top-level OG.
It has stopped the pipeline where drugs freely flowed between California and Memphis.
Also indicted was Eric Avendado, who investigators say is connected to a Mexican cartel, but would not say which one.
They are using a variety of ways to move the drugs into Memphis.
I asked Lorenzi if an informant was used to help crack the years-long case.
We can't speak to the actual facts of the case or the actual techniques that were used to investigate. Good question, though.
What Lorenzi did say is that an alleged dangerous drug pipeline here in Memphis is now busted up. And 5 of those people named in the indictment we found out live in California. And an interesting takeaway, on Monday of this week, I reported on an indictment, a federal indictment, where drugs were allegedly sent between Memphis and California. I asked investigators if these 2 cases are related. They told me they are not. I'm reporting live downtown tonight, Jim Spiewak, Fox 13 News.
We always knew the FBI was following us or trying to get us for something. So we really didn't care. Well, yeah, a lot of emotions was running through me at the time. 2 guys that I'm really in charge of their protection was laying in the hospital, fighting for their life.
Everybody wants to know, well, why do you got an attitude? I mean, you did a movie where you calmed down, we gave you some money. I still got the scars. When I go to sleep, I still feel them cops on me. I want to expand and blow up. And I can't do that if the police keep grabbing at me, because it's just going to make me more and more bitter.
Yeah. During the course of people obviously watching the video and then leaving comments, a lot of people made a big deal about saying that, and I guess Phil Carson tried to allude to this, but he was very vague. You know, he kept persisting with the, hey, Reggie, I'm trying to protect you from you. But people took it as Reggie is an informant or a 302, or there were a bunch of numbers that people threw out was a so-and-so informant. Can you break down the difference in FBI sources or FBI informants, or just somebody who is willing to answer a question if somebody asks them that?
Yeah, so that was kind of a compound series of questions.
You've written a lot of books. You've been with us many times. You know the Philadelphia mob very well. Why did you take on this guy's story?
A couple different reasons, Steve. One, I read all the testimony, the transcripts of the murder, racketeering, all those sorts of. I've read all of those transcripts, all of the testimony in those trials. I've reviewed documents. There's an FBI 302, a 5-page memo.
Tell everybody what a 302 is.
A 302 is a memo memorializing a meeting. Here's what I can tell you.
Why would he even meet with them in the first place?
Because he was trying to cut a deal, which is the point John is trying to make. You can call anybody and everybody a rat. He was trying to do the exact same thing. The fact that he sat down with these guys, talked about murders, implicated guys in murders, talked about briberies, talked about extortions. This book has the full 5-page document. So, you know, he can say whatever he wants.
But I think it's okay. I can address it all. I just, like, Phil explained that they have, within the FBI anyways, these 2 designations. You have basically an informant that's willing to cooperate and then testify, and then you have an informant that is willing to help you, but he wants his name, you know, forever concealed.
Right.
You know, so he doesn't want his identity to ever be exposed. So, you know, within the local system, you know, within like LAPD, we have like 4 different designations for informants. But to not digress, I thought that whole thing was really strange too. I didn't get what was going on there, because Phil did seem to be alluding to the idea that, hey, Reggie, you need to shut up because, you know, I'm going to have to disclose that you're an informant. Or
wait a second, are we really going to get into, like, what were you doing the night of Tupac Shakur's murder?
Greg, where were you the night Tupac Shakur was murdered?
I have absolutely no idea.
So why do they call them black ops in the military? Oh, we got a helicopter going over. Isn't that nice? Why do they call them black ops in the military? When I first started looking into these cases, Russell introduced me to one of his supervisors, one of the heads of the detectives. And this is somebody who worked on the Wallace civil trial. We were supposed to meet for 45 minutes, and we got together about 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 6 o'clock at night we were still together talking. And he finally said to me, he said, "Where will this lead if you continue?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "I will tell you where it will lead. This will lead to the CIA putting drugs out on the streets of America to fund their covert operations." And he said it at the time, and I really looked at him very skeptically. But now, 3.5 years in, I'm telling you, this leads to the CIA putting drugs on the streets of America. And why did they put those drugs on the streets of America? There were two reasons. One, they needed to raise money for covert activities, like the Iran-Contra scandal, where they were mining the ports down in Nicaragua. And they needed money to be able to mine those ports. And because of the Boland amendments, both of them, they were barred from funding anything to do with the Contras. And so that money had to flow from outside of the government. So they needed money. And the second reason that they did this was they wanted to destroy the black family. They wanted to destroy the black family because they were afraid there was going to be a race war. And that's why they did it. Was it the entire government? Absolutely not. Was it a faction inside the government? Yes, it was. Reggie Jr. has told a lot of his friends that he is protected by the CIA. It very well could be. Will the CIA acknowledge this? I think it's time for everybody to start asking the CIA if Reggie Jr. and Reggie Sr. are protected.
Open the bell out KBD.
A major breakthrough in a murder case following decades of investigation. A man has been arrested and charged with murder over the 1996 killing of rapper Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas. A Nevada grand jury indicted Dwayne Davis, who goes by Kef D, in connection to the killing. Davis was arrested this morning while on a walk near his home. Authorities said he was the commander who ordered Shakur's death. He was one of the last living witnesses to the fatal drive-by shooting in September 1996. Shakur was in a car and waiting at a red light when a white Cadillac pulled up next to him and gunfire erupted. He was shot multiple times and died a week later at the age of 25. The suspect has long been known to investigators and has himself admitted that he was in the Cadillac. The judge denied him bail.
Well, don't we have some interesting developments? Reggie Wright Jr. is now an official suspect entered into the court in a court document in the Keffe D murder trial. That's an interesting development. And I would just say this. There is a lot of evidence that points to death row records. And Russell Poole originally blamed Suge Knight for the murder because he couldn't understand that there was a difference between Death Row Records and Suge Knight. But there were factions inside of Death Row Records, and one of those factions was Reggie Wright Jr. And now that he's been named as an official suspect, I think there's going to be a lot of fingers pointing at him. There's going to be a lot of investigation into him, and that's probably going to yield results, as it has in the past. The bodyguards were all talking about how something didn't smell right. The goose is cooked, all that stuff. And there's an awful lot of evidence that does point to him. He got all the guns out the way so that there wouldn't be anybody firing back. And there's a lot of evidence that points to him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the court case. Now, I don't think the attorneys that are handling this are very smart, to be honest with you. And if you're listening, I don't mean to offend you, but, it's kind of dumb when you think about it. You got all kinds of evidence that points to Reggie, and yet that evidence isn't entered into the court yet. And maybe that's their strategy. But they wait until a month before the trial to even float Reggie's name. That's kind of dumb, if you ask me. Especially with all of the public info that points towards Reggie. And Reggie was actually a witness in the grand jury to get the indictment, which that makes no sense. Reggie was the one that went to every single one of the interviews, and he sat in on the interviews. A suspect in a case is sitting in on the interviews. Reggie is an actual official suspect in the Biggie murder case. And those attorneys that have been handling Keefe D have not entered any of that Biggie info into this case, which is voluminous. And so I would just say that these guys are probably not too bright, and they have an investigator who's probably not too bright, but bright enough to have floated Reggie's name. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. We're all sitting with our popcorn. We're waiting to see what we see in this. The confession letter was reached out by Chris Blatchford to Las Vegas Metro Police Department in 1998. They had no interest in the confession letter. Those were valuable clues back then that could have been followed up on, but they had no interest. Russell Poole went to Las Vegas Metro Police. They had no interest in solving the case back when he went there, which had to be 97 or 98. So you ask yourself, how much information is there that's already in the public record, and how much information would Las Vegas Metro Police actually be required to release if they were properly noticed on discovery, and if there was a true investigation that was being done? But this is obviously a low-budget attorney representation, probably ineffective counsel. It's going to be argued, if there's a conviction, that it was ineffective counsel, because there's so many things that they didn't do in this case. And Las Vegas Metro Police needs to be held to account for why they didn't want the confession letter, why they didn't want to follow up on those leads back then. And all of a sudden, they want to solve the case with Keefe D, who obviously was just a braggart and wanted to sell books, wanted to make some money because he saw Greg Kading making hundreds of millions of dollars off of this stuff. Now, Greg didn't make hundreds of millions, but there were hundreds of millions spent on his projects for sure. And Keefe D saw all that money and said, I want my cut. And so he floated this whole thing and wrote a book and, decided that he was going to take credit for something that never happened. Because why? Orlando had a busted up shoulder. He wasn't shooting anybody that night. And Las Vegas Metro Police had him on video surveillance, which they disclosed to Russell. He was at the bar with Corey Edwards, and he could not have been in the car when Tupac got shot. So all this is bullshit, and everybody knows it. And when Compton PD tried to pin it on Orlando when they offered him up, Las Vegas Metro Police had no interest in Orlando because they had already cleared him as a suspect. That needs to come out at this trial. It probably won't because they have dumb attorneys. It probably won't because they have a dumb investigator. But what's crazy about this is that Edie Fall was the original attorney in this, and Edie's kind of out of the picture, it seems now. But Edie actually represented Orlando Anderson, and Edie would know all these things. So we'll see what happens. But I don't expect that they are going to be effective in providing a defense for Keefe D, because you have a confession that was made in a book. It's in writing. And it doesn't matter whether it's true or not true. It's a confession that's been made, and they're going to try and get a conviction off of this. And it really is ineffective counsel. If they're this many years in, they're 2 years in on this case, and they're just now floating Reggie's name. I mean, the publicly available documents have mentioned Reggie way before now. And so it really seems like Keefe D's not getting effective counsel. But we'll see what happens. Standing by, watching with great interest. More later. More later.
Anybody that ever put their hands on me, I'll tell you, might not get you that day, but you're going to get got.
Have y'all figured it out yet? What do Wack 100, Reggie Wright Jr., Greg Kading all have in common? I need to know in the comment section. Let's put the puzzle together. What do they all have in common other than lies, deceits, and cover-ups? You don't believe me? Let's listen to Greg Kading's cover-up for Wack 100, aka CS2 Back.
I don't know how much more I can emphasize this. Cash Jones was not an informant on the Main Street case.
I'm with you on that. But you're agreeing that in the transcripts we have, it's Wack that Mark and Dell are talking about in the conversation they're having, right?
Yes. And I think Wack admits.
Wack does not admit that. Wack didn't even know who CS Back was, remember? He said he didn't really have a need to read the transcripts to know who CS2 Back was even a name in the paperwork. Let's listen some more.
Saying the person who called him looking for Del Dog's phone number was Wack. Mark said he doesn't know anyone named Back. So why would they put some fake person that Mark has never ever talked to in the transcripts?
No, I get that. See, we are totally in agreement. The conversation is Wack, obviously. The
conversation was Wack, obviously. That's what he said. That's what Greg Kading said. Mark Stevens said the person that was on that wiretap, who initiated the wiretap, meaning he was bugged, he was wired for sound, just like he was wired for sound the entire time he was up under Big U, is Wack 100, is Wack. And in the paperwork, they put him as Back. So let's listen to what Greg said again.
Saying the person who called him looking for Del Dog's phone number was Wack. Mark said he doesn't know anyone named Back. So why would they put some fake person that Mark has never ever talked to in the transcripts?
No, I get that. See, we are totally in agreement. The conversation is Wack, obviously. The conversation.
Let's listen to Mark Stevens himself.
And as soon when you get the discovery was part of that,
the actual wiretap that
the whole transcript. I got the whole transcript. The whole transcripts of the whole wiretaps.
And do you, in that paperwork, do you see your conversation with Cash Jones in them transcripts?
That was the initiating. That was the initiating when they started recording.
Right. And how did they refer to Cash Jones?
In the paperwork they put him as Back. BACK. And
correct.
I kept asking the lawyer, like, who the fuck is, I ain't talked to no Back. And they said, nah, that's Wack. But they put him as Back because he a blood. So it's Back. And I said, oh, okay.
And was this Back also referred as confidential source number 2?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Well, man, I'm glad that
Yes, sir. Let's listen to one more clip of Mark Stevens.
That was it.
Wait. How long was it from when you first got it that you let you in Atlanta to show them the work?
I got the paperwork from the attorneys probably in, I want to say 12 or 13, because it was a series of, remember the incident happened in 06, 07, but Box had went to prison. He called a drug case, so he went to prison, and they waited to almost the last month of the statute of limitations to go get the homies from Main Street. Right. So it had been about a 5-year period from the time that had happened to the time that they came and got the big homies. And then once how
did you feel about you waiting that long now?
Well, he chastised me, and I never, one of the things, bro, and it's like a.
I wanted to play that because it was important to play. Academics, Adam 22, and Vlad. These are the fakest journalists people in this space. The fakest journalists in this space, in our culture. And they milk in our culture, using our culture, aiding and abetting the fake stories, the fake propaganda that you guys hear today that is being unfolded before your eyes. Vlad TV did not solve the Tupac and Biggie murder. Wasn't even close. Actually, he's interviewed the alleged murderer multiple times on his platform. Just recently had him on his platform. But he brags about solving the Tupac and Biggie murder. Academics and Vlad 22, they hear these allegations of Wack 100 being an informant. Someone as accomplished as Mark Stevens, even though he waited so long to say something about it, which I know right now, Big U wish he wouldn't have did that. But he had his reasons. He thought, Wack wasn't doing no harm. But whatever the case is, I have not heard neither one of these people really do their homework, do their due diligence, and challenge them on it. There's only one reason they would do that. You can't call yourself a journalist, and a fair journalist at that. But you just totally ignore the evidence that's right in your face. There's so many holes in that Tupac story, it's not even funny. Reggie has told us over and over he's the orca. The orca. But you don't hear anything about that on Vlad, on Academics, or on No Jumper. Wack 100 just single-handedly got Big U and several other members from the Rolling 60s indicted. Indicted. You don't really hear a whisper out of these dudes. Yeah, they joke about it. Yeah, they have joked about it. But we're not looking, because this is not a joke. We have informants amongst us that are portraying themselves to be regular street dudes, regular street cats out here doing, street activity and actually doing it, but getting away with it. Wack today is what Whitey Bulger was in 1965 when he first started, when he first got flipped. That's a fact. Whoever that, I forgot his name, who was Whitey Bulger's handler, that's who Darren Dupree is today for Wack 100. Oh, this shit get deep, y'all. This is deep. Oh, this shit gets deep, deep, deep. What do all three of these gentlemen have in common? Can somebody tell me in the comment section? Because we about to unpack it all. Don't worry, I got another video for y'all. Reggie Wright Jr., Greg, meaning Greg Kading, and Sharita, who was Suge Knight's ex-girlfriend. I don't think it was his wife, but ex-girlfriend. They're best friends. They're good friends. I wonder what that's about. Sit back, relax. We're going to find out. But before we do, let's listen to what Wack 100 has to say.
But then again, you know how the feds work. We don't care how many chickens or turkeys you pass out. Yeah. We don't care how many book bags you done passed out. What we care about is these wiretaps. We care about these confidential informants. And we care about your actions within the means of the law.
Tupac kind of falls into my left arm.
A music icon killed in our streets.
I'm asking what happened, who shot you?
Fox 5 News investigates theories of revenge, corruption, and rap's most powerful.
It leads back to
Who Killed Tupac? Thursday on Fox 5 News at 10.
Las Vegas, Nevada. The most popular hip-hop star on the planet, Tupac Shakur, bleeds out in a BMW, victim of a drive-by shooting. 6 months later, rival rapper Biggie Smalls is brutally gunned down on the streets of LA in an eerily similar fashion. Both murders are forever linked and currently unsolved. Who killed Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls?
They'd have killed him right in front of the Pope.
Some say they were murdered by their closest allies.
They put a hit out on Pac for $1 million.
Were they truly victims of an East Coast, West Coast rap rivalry? Or was that just a cover for something more sinister?
guns, drugs, money. This is a really bad formula here.
Anybody that ever put their hands on me, I'll tell you, might not get you that day, but you're going to get got.
Well, Reggie Wright is taboo, you know, and he's part of it.
The Compton killings that occurred thereafter after Tupac was shot was just a diversion to make, you know, general public, law enforcement believe it was blood Crip thing. When indeed, I mean, it was all orchestrated.
I have never been the type of guy that go and put any type of work, will never get no car and do nothing. I'm a reactor. I'm one that with you and that's going to react to things that happens. But yeah, I don't believe in being spontaneous at all. And so that's what I mean when I say I will orchestrate something.
Reggie Wright Jr., the head of security for Right Way Security and Death Row, organized the personnel to plan the hit, and I believe police officers were a big part of the hit.
You know, if I want somebody to get slapped or something like that, we're going to put a plan together. You'll never get me being emotional like a bitch and spontaneous and taking penitentiary chances. No. You probably can slap me. And I always say, you slap me, you might get away with slapping me right then. But trust me, you're going to pay for that slap one day. And that's what I mean by that.
Now we need to check out another part of Michael Carlin's theory. Reggie Wright Jr. and the allegedly dirty cops who he and Suge Knight was bringing into the inner circle of death row.
Stay away from Reggie Wright Jr.
I'm putting cases on some of them guys, so.
He is working with the feds.
Where are Biggie and Tupac?
As Denzel Washington said, I'm putting cases on.
You got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Freudian slip.
You got a lot to cover up.
We spoke to two head investigators on Tupac's murder. Here are their theories of the event.
I won't deny it. I'm a straight ride.
September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur, along with his associates from Death Row Records, are leaving a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Hotel and Casino when they see Orlando Anderson, a known Southside Crip from Los Angeles. In this video from inside the MGM, Shakur, along with Suge Knight, can be seen kicking and stomping Anderson. Just after 11 p.m., Tupac, Suge Knight, and the rest of their entourage of about 6 cars were headed to a club. They were stopped here at the intersection of Koval and Flamingo. A white Cadillac pulled up alongside Knight's BMW and opened fire. Shakur was sitting in the passenger side and was hit multiple times. This is the last photo taken of Shakur the night of the shooting. He died 5 days later at UMC at the age of 25. 6 months later in Los Angeles, East Coast rapper Christopher Wallace, otherwise known as Notorious B.I.G., is gunned down leaving a party. LAPD detective Russell Poole is assigned the case and found the murder of Shakur and Wallace were connected.
Russell Poole was investigating this crime, and it kept leading to off-duty police officers. And he kept being told by management at the LA, hey, stop, you're investigating.
Poole was eventually taken off the case. He quit the force and sued the LAPD. Author Michael Carlin helped Poole publish multiple books about his findings.
I'm just calling to tell you, look over your shoulder.
And says Poole never stopped working on the murders.
Dave Demersion is the senior ADA at the district attorney's office. We started having these meetings, and Dave was like, I'm still just not interested, not feeling this case. We doubled our efforts. We came up with 45 Tupac murder facts. We handed that to him, and finally he said, I am very interested in this case now.
In September 2015, 19 years after Shakur's murder, Poole scores a meeting with investigators.
A man takes 2 billion heartbeats, and the last 2,000 of his heartbeats are in a meeting with the sheriffs talking about sheriff corruption, and he passes away in the meeting. I mean, it defies logic.
Carlin says Poole had uncovered evidence that those inside Death Row Records planned to kill Suge Knight to take over the label. Shakur was also a target because, according to Poole, he was planning to leave the label and take hundreds of unreleased songs with him. FBI documents and former LAPD officers confirmed Death Row Records employed multiple officers who worked security.
The motive is Death Row Records. Death Row Records was worth $500 million. And the reality is, cops were involved in the murder of Tupac. The reason this hasn't been solved is because it leads back to cops.
Fox 5 tried to contact the former Compton police officer who took over Death Row Records after the murder. He did not respond.
Profile unsolved cases
Right here in Las Vegas, exactly.
Incredible. Great work, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Several informants told investigators the white Cadillac used in the shooting of Tupac was rented. However, police were never able to track down the car. We also reached out to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. They told us they couldn't comment because the investigation into the death of Tupac Shakur is still ongoing. Greg Kading, the LAPD officer we spoke to for this piece, has published a book and has a documentary about his findings. He was taken off the investigation after an internal review found him guilty of altering witness statements.
And you are on their side. You're buddies with all of them, and you're protecting them. And why can't there just be an investigation?
Absolutely right. Greg, what were you doing in 1996? Wait a second. Are we really going to get into, what were you doing the night of Tupac Shakur's murder?
So, guys.
What's going on?
Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it, so.
Hey, Greg, where were you the night Tupac Shakur was murdered?
I have absolutely no idea.
We've been waiting around for Kading all day, and
and now
he's not
he's a
coming.
no-show.
Really, I wanted to talk to him because there's so much to ask him.
Yeah.
Greg Kading has no credibility on this subject matter. He became a task force member on the Biggie case 10 years after the fact. Kading left the LAPD in disgrace for his false testimony on a federal murder and racketeering case, United States versus George Toros Ramos, CR 06-656A SVW. Guilty verdicts were overturned in part due to Kading's testimony. He said LAPD cleared him of those charges, but that is not entirely true. Kading also had some help writing his book from disgraced LA Times reporter Chuck Phillips. Kading forget there were actual eyewitnesses to the Biggie killing. He spends a lot of time talking about things he knows nothing about. This is a desperate attempt for Kading to salvage his reputation. Suge Knight is a suspect, but not for the reasons Kading talks about. In closing, Kading never attempted to interview me regarding the Biggie investigation. He makes a lot of false statements about me and my part in the investigation. Retired LAPD homicide detective Russell Poole.
Reggie Wright Jr., the head of security for Right Way Security and Death Row, organized the personnel to plan the hit. And I believe police officers were a big part of the hit.
This is in response to Reggie Wright Jr. And Reggie has been very vocal lately. And he's been talking about things that probably shouldn't, but it's okay. Because Reggie, the one thing I know, you missed me. You missed me coming out with these videos over and over and over again. And Reggie, you shouldn't have gloated when Russell Poole died. You should have been respectful when Russell Poole died. But you made it personal. And you made it personal by talking about my mother. Who does that? Well, I'll tell you who does that. The person that does that is the kind of person that would put a bank account in his mother's name and then do drug trafficking and money laundering through that bank account. Now, I'm not sure who your mother is, Reggie, but is it Helen? Is Helen your mother? Because if Helen is your mother, which I think she is, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to say for sure that it's your mother, but I will say this. Somebody with the last name Wright and the first name Helen was on Reggie's bank account when he did his drug trafficking and money laundering. So even though she wasn't charged in this case, she was hemmed up in this case. She was probably asked questions. And now we see that there's a lot going on. The Diddy thing. We know Reggie has ties to Diddy. Reggie has even admitted that of recent. But now this Big U stuff is going on. And we know there's a lot of telling going on because people are trying to avoid having responsibility for the crimes that they committed. And Reggie knows what that's like. Reggie knows intimately what that's like, trying to avoid responsibility for the crimes. So I'm releasing the documents, Reggie Wright Jr.'s sentencing document, and I'm releasing the indictment so that everybody can see. Now, is there a price at which this man will sell out his mother? I think it's his mother. Her name is Helen. Is there a price for which Reggie would sell out Helen? Well, it turns out that there is. It's $50,100. Now, is that insane? For $50,100, he sold out Helen Wright. So I'm just going to read you a few things here. Reggie Wright Jr., and it's 2:17-CR-20151-TLP, United States versus Reginald Wright Jr., a.k.a. Reg, a.k.a. Unc, and it was filed
525 of 17, and it's 21 USC 846, 21 USC 841, A1, 21 USC 1956, 21 USC 371, 21 USC 5324. Reginald Wright is a close associate of the Great Street Crips. Well, that was news to us. It seems like Grape Street Crips has a beef with Southside Crips because he's been going after Southside Crips all the way back to the Biggie murder. They've been trying to blame Keefe D for the Biggie murder, and then they blame Keefe D for the murder of Tupac Shakur. So there was cash, check, online transfer deposits, withdrawals at Bank of America account 6121. And then there's another account, Bank of America account 3289, and it's Reggie Wright and Helen Wright that are in furtherance of the conspiracy and involves the proceeds of specified unlawful activity, that is, drug trafficking, in violation of 21 U.S.C. Section 841A1 for the amount of $50,100. Now, the not less than amount of time Reggie Wright Jr. was supposed to get for that crime is 5 years, and not more than 40 years in prison, not more than a $5 million fine. Well, what does Reggie get? He gets 18 months, and then he gets supervised release. He gets actually released early due to hardship from COVID. So if you get 18 months and the penalty is supposed to be not less than 5 years, then you know some talking happened. And that's what's going on right now with the Big U case. That's what's going on with the Diddy case. Negotiations are ongoing. I've got this. What can I get for it? I can give you this. What can I get for it? So, and the one thing we know is that phone lines are hot right now. And it's a two-hop rule on wiretapping of phone lines. So if Reggie is talking to somebody who's talking to somebody, all their phones are tapped. So if you even suspect that somebody you know is talking to Reggie, you need to assume that everything you say is being said to the FBI, to the federal government. So Reggie's phones are tapped. People are wearing wires in to come see him because they want to hear what he has to say. They want him on tape saying something that is illegal. So let's remember, too, that Reggie was supposed to be in Atlanta but missed his plane. Jake was killed on that trip, and Reggie slid into the security chief's spot in the aftermath. Now, the Gary Weiss article that was written in 2015 talks about what Russell Poole was thinking about at the time of that, and that's when he said that this was a conspiracy between Reggie, Sharitha, and corrupt cops. So, Reggie has been getting a pension from the Compton PD. Now, isn't it crazy that his pension should have been stripped from him during this case? And it's not really a pension, it's disability. He was 11 years on the force, got into an accident that Kevin Hackey says was somehow staged, and he does all these things, running death row records, while he's fully disabled, getting taxpayer money from the state. Now, if you want to look into Reggie, that's a good place to go. You could probably nail him for disability fraud in this. And why? Because he's written a book that details all of his exploits as a label boss. Now, can you do all those things disabled? I don't know, but it's worth looking into. It's worth looking into Reggie and seeing whether or not there is some kind of fraud that's happened in that disability. Minimum, he should be stripped of that money. That money should be stripped from him because of his drug trafficking and money laundering conviction. City of Compton can save $38,000 a year, and it's escalating as there are in cost of living adjustments that get made to people's pensions. Now, I just want to say one more thing about this, and that is that it is Reggie Wright Jr. that is solely responsible for the disbandment of the corrupt Compton Police Department. And why do I say that? Why do I say that Reggie Wright Jr. is the one that's responsible for that? I say that because Reggie Wright Jr. had a gun that he got from the evidence locker in the corrupt Compton PD department. And that gun was flowed through the evidence locker, and that gun was used to shoot Officer Brian Watt over at Long Beach PD. And so when we see these things, we see that the gun flowed through the evidence locker, was used to shoot an off-duty cop. That is what was the triggering event, the catalyst to shut down the corrupt Compton Police Department. And there's Gary Beverly, who's murdered in what really is a look-alike murder, and Reggie Wright Sr. calls the person that they had actually targeted a minute after that murder happened on the 91 freeway just to check and see if they had gotten their target. But they didn't get their target. They got a Compton, it was actually a Compton resident, but he was a Linwood Unified principal, and they murdered an innocent man. Now, if they had gotten the person that they were targeting, the corrupt Compton Police Department vote that happened a week later would not have gone the way of shutting down corrupt Compton Police Department. And Reggie Wright Jr. is solely responsible for shutting down the corrupt Compton Police Department. Now, there were 575 murders in the 7 years leading up to the disbandment of the corrupt Compton Police Department. 275 of those were unsolved murders, according to Compton PD at the time that the department was disbanded, and only 24 murder files are turned over to the sheriffs. 251 case files are purged. There is a shredding party to get rid of those files, and only 24 murder files get turned over to the sheriffs. Why? Because they implicate Compton PD and the people they were protecting. And one of these case files that does not get turned over is the murder of Bobby Finch. Captain Stephen Roller classified it as a drive-by shooting, but was it a drive-by shooting? No, it wasn't. It was somebody from car to car for sure, but they talked to Bobby for 3 or 4 minutes before the shots rang out. And Tim Brennan says it's a case of mistaken identity. Was it? Well, you talk to somebody for 3 or 4 minutes, it's not a case of mistaken identity. And 13 shots fired, 12 bullets hits the body. And that kind of refutes the notion that it was some kind of drive-by. It was a stationary car-to-car shooting. The killer spoke to Bobby Finch for 3 or 4 minutes. And at the time, Reggie Wright Sr. was in charge of homicides at the time this murder happens, and there is no investigation. Nobody that's in that neighborhood says that there was an investigation. Tim Brennan says it was a red car. The eyewitnesses to the killing say it was a blue car. They tried to bill it as a Crip blood thing so that they could start the Crip blood war in Compton, but it wasn't even a red car, and it wasn't Pyru that were shooting that day. That was likely a professional shooter. What had just happened? Say whatever you want about Reggie Wright on the night Tupac was shot. If he was supposed to protect Suge Knight and Tupac, it was a total screw-up. If he was supposed to shoot them and kill them, it was a total screw-up. Somebody had to prove that they could do a murder. Why not take out the competing bodyguard who's well-known and has been hired to protect the folks in places like Century City from bad forces in the nefarious music industry? Why not hire Bobby Finch? Well, can't hire Bobby Finch because he's been taken off the table. There's one more additional motive, possibly, and that is a corrupt Compton cop is shaking down drug dealers. Bobby Finch says, we went to high school at the same time, and you aren't shit without that badge and gun. The badge and gun comes off, one punch. Bobby Finch puts that cop to sleep to the point that cop had to be dragged back to his patrol car. That cop had to be dragged back to his patrol car. Now, you lay in wait, and what do? You come back years later, and you take out Bobby Finch. 13 shots, 12 of those shots hit his body.
Greg Kading, the LAPD officer we spoke to for this piece, has published a book and has a documentary about his findings. He was taken off the investigation after an internal review found him guilty of altering witness statements.
Hey, Sharita, you ain't do nothing with my friend with me on the phone now. Be nice.
No, that was my friend too. That was my friend.
That's still your friend.
That's my friend too.
And you are on their side. You're buddies with all of them, and you're protecting them. And why can't there just be an investigation?
Right.
So guys,
What's going on?
Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it, so
we've been waiting around for Kading all day, and
and now
he's not
he's a
coming.
no-show.
Really, I wanted to talk to him because there's so much to ask him.
Yeah.
If it wasn't me, I would have liked the whole scene too. But my friend knew that what was portrayed in that movie, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not even going down Kevin's line. I'm talking about Sharitha Knight. You knew for a fact that was not said in that living room.
Everywhere, big business. You want to be successful? You want to be like Trump?
Where are Biggie and Tupac?
You got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Freudian slip.
You got a lot to cover up.
We got a lot to cover up.
About 2 weeks after that, I was contacted by Reggie to go over to Santa Monica Police Department to pick up this firearm.
Hackey says he first showed the handgun to his FBI handlers and then turned it over to Reggie Wright Jr. A month later in Las Vegas, investigators say it was a .40 Glock handgun that killed Tupac Shakur. Hackey believes the murder weapon was the same gun he gave Reggie Wright Jr.
I believe it is.
What up, Ballford family? How y'all doing? Hey, John, you got a lot to cover up, y'all.
We got a lot to cover up.
Puffy was going up the stairs, and he said, I don't care if Tupac died, I don't care if Biggie gotta die, and I don't care if Suge gotta go to prison for the rest of his life.
We got a confession letter on how everything went down and who's responsible.
Now, getting back to Russell was following in the footsteps of his dad, and he was able to work through the LAPD and have all the things that had to be done within the LAPD. He certainly knew the streets very well, and circumstances in his case were far more tragic because he was killed in the line of duty.
Hold your head on repeat. Listen to the beat again and again in my playpen till Tupac appeared to me. Finally I see. How do we keep the music playing with these devils betraying? Rap games, ghost, hocus pocus flows, exposing my foes and their John Does. Mad respect, Russell Poole detect, murders checked. Now rest your head, bless the dead while the message spreads. Machiavelli said, my killers have not yet bled.
They got to be sorry for what they did. Like I said, I had two of the toughest guys for him, and Reggie pulled them off of me. It didn't have to happen. I told him to send 5 guys from the club to there, and they never sent nobody.
Sugar was set up.
I'm like, cuz, you going to Vegas? You going to Vegas, cuz? They finna try to do something to me.
I mean, murder is pretty simple. The first person you go after is the spouse.
Perez and them was all involved. They were trying to kill me too, but see, because Perez and Reg was good friends, and Perez and Sarita and Reg is great friends, and so all those three together was trying to plot.
Why would I want a paper trail when I never brought him around nowhere? So if I'm gonna hide him in secret, you think I'm gonna let somebody catch a paper trail? They were paid cash by Snoop.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It was a murder for hire hit.
If it was an actual shooting in Vegas, it's on camera in Vegas.
It's witnesses that said they gave no sex to kill me. So I knew it was cameras everywhere in Vegas because I went to UNLV.
All of the corners in Vegas was equipped with cameras.
Those guys, if you go back and watch the film, they was already stalking Pac, watching him. So that just tipped the iceberg when something happened. But there was a plan already to do something to him.
How come Reggie is Suge's bodyguard and he wasn't with Suge?
We went to Las Vegas Metro in '97. After Biggie was killed, they thought there's got to be a connection between the two. The politicians said they don't want to solve it, so they told the investigators put it up on the shelf.
I'm quite sure if they saw the first one, they would saw the second one because it's the same circle of people. You got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Freudian slip.
You got a lot to cover up. Orlando wasn't even the shooter, you know? He was actually a good kid, too, you know?
The same guy that told them, Orlando Anderson, told them that Biggie got killed by the Southside Crips.
No, it wasn't the discrepancy. The discrepancy is people say, I called names. I didn't call names. I didn't say it was Orlando, Keefe, and all of them.
I had gotten all kind of intelligence from my informants an hour after the shooting went down.
He called me and started telling me, hey, man, you know, there was Orlando and them behind this. They got in a fight because they saw saw Orlando and all that. He says, but it's them.
I didn't know about the beatdown until a couple of days later.
Trickery, witchery, foolery, flop, plot to take out Suge and Pac. Traffic stop starts the clock. Collusion of industry, street and cop. Filmmaker takes one last shot. 60 seconds after, no more laughter. Half dead whips out Fatal's Glock. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, pop, pop. Quite the head turner, they's dad came over Nate's burner. Got him on Porky Squawker, surviving a real shocker. Fat ass said, we got a lot to cover up, y'all, and that's what's up. Stripped the straps, unloaded gats, Buntry shot back. 3 men in the caddy, just smoked a fatty, but it wasn't Sugar Daddy.
Supposedly there's a hit on Suge. Wounds are life-threatening, but serious, not in critical condition at this time. And the person, as you are already aware, who is the passenger in this vehicle is a known rap performer by the name of Tupac Shakur.
With Tupac, I still got a 45 bullet etched to my skull.
We've been informed that doctors have told the family members that they expect the rap star to once again recover from his injuries.
They know who was going on behind all that stuff, you know? How much would it cost to get rid of Suge? They said, what you mean by get rid of him? He said, kill him.
They put a hit on Suge.
Reggie's dad told me that. Well, he said, Michael, if anything happened to Suge, this is what he told me. Anything happened to Suge, Reggie would run the majority of the company.
It's the same people, same circle of people. It have nothing to do with me, you know.
Street is on the paper.
Oh, yeah.
And then you gonna sit here and see.
Who is your biggest defender on Teresa?
Sure. And what Suge said. That's how I feel.
Yeah, Reggie would carry most of the burden.
It's tough for me because they want the ownership of my company.
Hey, John, you got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Doctor said Pac's on the mend.
We try to form some security detail, at least around the floor, around his room, because they had him on the first floor.
Surrounded by friends, foes called in to make kin spin, finish him off.
We were pissed off. I'm like, this is an assassination attempt, right? And y'all got him on the first floor near a window.
Pac shook the bed, for his life he pled.
By the time I got there, remember I was coming from LA. So by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talked to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. I always, that's gonna be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, with his big old eyes, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
IVs to the vein go straight to the brain. Poison would ease his pain. It only took a drop to make his heart stop. D.O.G. Scorsese created the distraction, lulled protectors in action for the final transaction.
The head of gangs and homicide from the Compton PD is Reggie Wright Sr., and the head of security at Death Row is Reggie Wright Jr.
The vice president on TV talking about taking my record off the shelves. Police, every time they see me, they think I'm a cop killer.
It was an assassination attempt on Suge in Las Vegas, who would have everything to gain.
I could have jumped out on his ass in Vegas, but it was killing me. But Snoop was like, hold on, don't fuck this up. So
I was told it was an operation. It was a planned assassination.
How come Reggie is Suge's bodyguard and he wasn't with Suge?
He wanted to be Suge Knight so bad.
Where stuff really come from, it come from because they want the ownership of my company.
Because I feel like the same people that was trying to kill Pac was trying to kill Suge. You know what I'm saying? Them bullets was coming for everything in that car.
Police did not follow up on the most basic lead.
Just happened to have officers in the right spot at the right time, were able to radio ahead.
The cops that they trying to connect to Death Row were never hired on Death Row.
He had no relationship with any police officers.
When I got shot, it was 37 cameras.
All the artists at Death Row was willing to come with me.
There's other rappers who wanted Suge taken out.
I'm scared of no one. My pitch was to the record labels and to the company was to have police officers that could be good witnesses and for the inmates.
You crooked ass cop.
I didn't need to take from niggas. I was institutionalized a motherfucker. If I felt threatened by anybody, you want to know the real. Nigga would have went to jail for a long time fucking with me.
Get everything you deserve.
Perez and Sarita and Reg is great friends, and so all those three together was trying to plot.
You always will tell you, those are Reggie people.
Suge didn't let none of my security ride with me. Because I feel like they finna try to do something to me.
Police corruption cannot exist. Cannot exist unless it is condoned and tolerated by upper police management.
Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it.
You crooked ass cop.
Las Vegas PD is given a copy of the confession letter. They do absolutely nothing with it.
Could it be that the police department had something to do with Tupac's murder?
Coroner's hearse, idols nearby, a dear mama goodbye. Rushed autopsy, quick cremation, police celebrations. Enemies snicker, Haitian bootlicker. We the people mourn, hearts are torn. Bulk of the nation, radio stations, next generations.
And that's what happened. Our lives was in jeopardy.
Told you in the hospital there, something wasn't right.
You know, situation was, you know, me and Pac had a little falling out a day or two before that in New York.
Now, you know you don't take no ass whooping like that unless something's up. Unless the goose is cooked.
Who do you think killed Tupac?
I believe Orlando Anderson killed Tupac.
Are Sharitha and Reggie Wright Jr. telling the truth? Michael Carlin doesn't think so.
Orlando wasn't even a shooter, you know? He was actually a good kid, too, you know?
No, Orlando Anderson, here he is, the only Southside Crip standing in a casino. He was planetary.
Wow, the last time I saw him, he was laying in the bed, holding on to his last breath.
Yeah, John, we got a lot to cover up.
Sold cops through shade and blame, fill the frame. Orlando's a throwaway patsy, denies the murder flatly. It's a cover-up, a chaos merchant's cover-up. Can't stop the truth from bubbling up. This shit's a cover-up.
Nobody cared about Pac having the right amount of security at all, period. No one cared. It was not mentioned at all. No one cared. No, and every time I ask Reggie, he gets really defensive. Told you in the hospital there, something wasn't right.
Interfering with the Vegas case. He's a lieutenant in Compton, LAPD, whatever. Interfering with the Vegas case.
Jimmy is close personal friends with Reggie Wright Sr.
Because Pop, that weekend before he went, was talking about pulling away from the labels and starting their own.
What me and Biggie want to do is take control of distribution of rap music. I said, oh boy, do you know what you're going up against? Do you understand the organized criminal networks you're going up against and the two major ethnic groups that run it? He said, yeah, we do. I said, well, you and Biggie can't do no shit like this. He said, we're not alone. We are organizing other young rappers.
And let's go and try to be a distributor on our own. At that time, it was 6 majors, and he was trying to be number 7. I remember he was talking about calling it Lucky 7.
Said if you control distribution, you can let them have their labels, you can give them anything else they want, but control distribution. From there, you control the industry.
We don't want that, man. It's enough brothers out here dying already.
Yeah, John, y'all got a lot to cover up. Y'all motherfuckers got Pac. Do y'all know how much that hurts our hearts?
Quail made you famous, your voice made you dangerous. Victim of jealousy, pour out your Hennessy. Death is calling me.
Stay away from Reggie Wright Jr. He is working with the feds.
In seconds, Biggie Smalls was dead, shot like Tupac in the passenger seat. According to the police, no random event, but a well-executed hit by a still unknown assailant.
What's the hateful rage for? Oh, 'cause you killed Biggie?
Well, if I did, wouldn't it make you supposed to love me even more if you love Tupac?
Anybody that ever put their hands on me, I'll tell you, might not get you that day, but you're going to get got.
But then again, you know how the feds work. We don't care how many chickens or turkeys you pass out. Yeah. We don't care how many book bags you done passed out. What we care about is these wiretaps. We care about these confidential informants. And we care about your actions within the means of the law.
Wow. Phenomenal job by Michael Douglas Carlin. Salute to Michael Douglas Carlin. Masterful. Salute to every clip, to every person that I've used. I'm gonna put it in the description of the video, man, but I apologize for not saying, I will say it in the introduction. But salute to everybody who content I use. Incredible, incredible, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. I don't need to say anything else. I hope you guys enjoyed that, digested that, and I need to know in the comment section, what does Wack 100, Reggie Wright Jr., and Greg Kading all have in common? Process that. If you are new to my channel, man, and you made it way this far, because this is over an hour, you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, leave a comment in this video, and again, share this video. We need to get this content out here. Not just mine. Go to Michael Douglas Carlin. You can see his YouTube channel in that picture right there. I'm also put it in the description of this video. Go to his page, run his numbers up, and get his videos out there. He was in the know. Suge Knight told him the real. He ain't tell him the fabricated story that Reggie Wright Jr., Wack 100, and Greg Kading has been spinning for a decade, while DJ Vlad is sitting up there claiming credit for something he has no idea what really happened. You ain't solved no Tupac murder. You're a fraud. And we need to hold all three of those people accountable. Adam 22, Wack, Academics, and what's the other channel, man? All of them, really, all of them. No Jumper, Academics, Vlad, all three of them, hold them accountable. Greg Kading for the blatant lies that he done put in our face over and over and over, covering up for Cash Jones, aka CS2 We need to hold these people accountable. But until I catch you guys on the other side, man, I appreciate y'all being here. Until the next time, I'll see y'all on the next one.
I'm finna bail out KVD. Thank you.